I'm privileged to be here to really share with you a lot regarding the cooperative movement in the country and especially Uganda Cooperative Alliance. I am Ivan Nasimwe, the General Secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Again, I serve on the International Cooperative Agriculture Organization, which is the sectoral committee of the International Cooperative Alliance, as the vice chairperson in charge of Africa. I'm also the board chairman for the Cooperative Insurance Company, which is the insurance company purely owned by cooperatives in this country. I also serve on the board of the Cooperative College Kigumba. So briefly, before we proceed, I want to first of all thank UBC for always being there. For the cooperators, we really appreciate them because they have given us enough coverage to educate the masses on the role of cooperatives. Cooperatives globally started on the 14th of March 1761, long time ago, and that was in Scotland. And then in 1844 in Rochdale, north of England, that's where we have the first formal cooperative society. And how it was formed, 28 artisans working in the cotton mills realized that they needed to work together as a team in order for them to have better results. So that is the first cooperative society in 1844. But as mentioned earlier, in 1761, on the 14th of March, that is when people learned to cooperate and to work as a cooperative. Then here in Uganda, cooperative started in 1913. And why they started, it was because of exploitation by the middlemen of Asian origin. And here we had the farmers who were into coffee, cotton and tea, and then they said enough is enough because of that exploitation, and they started the first cooperative society, which they called Chinakulia. Chinakulia meaning the enemy is just next to you. If you don't organize yourselves, then you are done. That is the first cooperative society in this country. In 1920, 5 groups in Uganda sat at Mengo and formed Buganda Growers that later gave birth to Wamara, East Mengo, West Mengo. So these are the unions you see. However, then the cooperatives were still working underground because the colonial government did not want Africans to cooperate. And because of that, they were denied. From 1913 to 1946, there was no cooperative law. But because of pressure from the farmers, the colonial government allowed and enacted the first cooperative law, which was the 1946 Cooperative Societies Ordinance. And then, but of course this law was unfavorable to the farmers. So when Andrew Cohen came here in 1952 as a governor, the farmers petitioned the government, the colonial government, and then Sir Andrew Cohen set up a committee of inquiry that released the report on the 11th of June 1952. And this report, based on this report, the government very fast repealed the 1946 law, giving birth to the one of 1952. That is where now you see cooperative unions register and flourish in the whole country, because this law favored farmers to cooperate and work through cooperatives. Then, so from there, 1963, they amended it, and the amendment was captured in 1963. And then also 1970, they amended the one of 63 and gave birth the one of 1970. Then, from 1970, of course, in 1970, the law that was made was not a good law. And that was the beginning of the collapse of the cooperative movement, because the law was not favorable, one, It was against the cooperative. You know, cooperatives are based on international principles. So the law was against the principle of autonomy and independence. It was against the principle of democratic member control, because cooperatives are supposed to be independent and autonomous, and their leadership are elected amongst themselves. But you can imagine in this law, they required a minister would appoint the secretary managers then, which was very wrong, and that one now affected everything. Then, however, when the NRM government came into play, 1986, then they supported the cooperatives to repeal the one of 1970, and they came up with the 1991 Cooperative Societies Act, CAP 112. It has just been amended. Just they have made some amendments, but this is the law, the mother law that we are using. Now, going back to how cooperatives are supporting this world to grow. Over 1 billion people are members of cooperatives. Currently, we have a population globally, the population is 7.9 billion people. So out of that, 1 billion are members of cooperatives. And the cooperatives are serving up to 3 billion. So you can see how many people are being served by cooperatives globally. And these cooperatives employ over 10% of the global population that is employed. Again, over 300 cooperatives in this world have a turnover annually of 2 billion 146 US dollars. So you can see how strong the cooperative movement is in this country. Now, in Uganda, around the 1960s, because of the laws, the legal framework that I've taken you through, around the 1960s, because the cooperatives were very strong, 1961, they formed the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. In 1963, the government realized that they needed to promote cooperative education, and they started the Cooperative College at Bukarasa that later went to Chigumba, the current Cooperative College of Chigumba. In 1964, they started the Cooperative Bank. By 1960, you can imagine in the 60s, cooperatives owned 14 gineries and 7 coffee churning works. They were controlling 90% and 60% respectively of coffee, that is Arabic and Robusta. So we have seen what it has taken for the cooperative movement from 1761 to date. And currently in Uganda, we have 29,893 registered cooperatives. These are SACCOs, savings and credit cooperative organizations. We have agricultural cooperatives, health cooperatives, transport cooperatives, energy cooperatives, housing cooperatives. So they are in all sectors of the economy. Now, back to Uganda Cooperative Alliance. For us in Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we observe the standard operating procedures. And that is why you see before entering, I must sanitize, I must keep social distancing, I must put on my mask. Every Ugandan, you can see that I am really following the SOPs. The UCA is owned by cooperative unions. In Uganda, we have primary cooperatives, secondary cooperatives, these are unions and area cooperative enterprises, and then the apex body, which is UCA. And it is governed by a board, which board is elected amongst the members who are the unions. And from 1961, it has had board chairmen, the boards headed by some chairmen, like if I can mention some few chairmen who have served at UCA, like Mr. Olimbwa Bernard from Eastern Uganda, Mr. Wambete from Eastern Uganda, Mr. Tom Wachigoma from Kasese, Mr. Chimbo Wapita from Central here, Mr. Mukasa from Central, and currently the chairman board is Mr. Tweyambe Jonas, who is the chairman board of Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union. So for us, we follow the democratic member control, whereby the members during their annual general meeting, they elect the board. And since then still, we have had general secretaries. Mr. Kabuga Charles, who is currently the head of the cooperative clan, was the general secretary and was succeeded by Mr. Musemakweli Leonard, and now I am there, the third person, the third general secretary of Uganda Cooperative Alliance. So this is how the leadership and management of UCA has been, and our main role as UCA is to support cooperative development in this country. All forms of cooperatives, we support them, and we focus on building strong cooperatives with their empowered members. Now, what do? Uganda Cooperative Alliance does capacity building. What I'm doing today, enlightening the public on the genesis of cooperatives, the roles of cooperatives, and any other issues. We do lobbying and advocacy. In case there is an issue touching a registered cooperative society, UCA will be there. For example, when there was the problem of taxes on SACCOs, UCA was there. We engaged His Excellency the President, and he was able to remove taxes on SACCOs. And as cooperatives, as an apex body, we really wish to convey our profound appreciation to His Excellency for the big role he made in waiving off tax areas on SACCOs. Then we also played a bigger role in ensuring that Parliament and His Excellency give SACCOs tax exemption for 10 years. Currently, SACCOs are not paying corporation tax, and this was our role under lobby and advocacy. We carry out arbitration. Arbitration is dispute resolution, because the law empowers UCA as an apex body that in case there are disputes within cooperatives, then UCA will come in to handle these. Then we also do resource mobilization. We mobilize resources for the cooperative movement. So that is exactly what we have done. Achievements. We have achieved a lot in regards to cooperative movement. Number one, currently the government is very positive, very passionate on cooperatives because of our regular engagements with the government. I am very happy with the President and his government, because now everybody is talking about cooperatives. You can imagine a president moving around promoting the cooperative model. This is a very big achievement on the side of UCA, because we have engaged him and the government. Look at SACCOs across the country. SACCOs are now bigger. They are almost overtaking banks. Talk about Wazalendo SACCO. SACCOs are very big. And we are happy because previously, cooperatives were seen like they are structures for the poor people. But we have done a lot in changing the mindsets of Ugandans for them to understand that a cooperative is for me and you who wants to develop this country together. Then you go to the health sector. We have supported doctors to form a health cooperative, and they have set up a hospital at Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Currently, as we speak, during this time of COVID, the hospital is doing the COVID tests and treating COVID patients. Then you go to the housing sector. UCA has helped through the cooperative, through the cooperatives. They are helping people to have organized settlements. You go to Bujuko and see people who were previously staying in Chisenyi, they now live in organized settlements under 24 housing units with electricity, with water, with the road network, with the toilets and everything. And this one, by the way, has helped in curbing down the spread of COVID, because people are organized. Of course, challenges. COVID has affected the cooperative movement, but I'm happy with the cooperatives for their role in curbing down the spread, for complementing government in curbing down the spread. So currently, we are okay. Cooperatives are doing a lot of work in really sensitizing their masses, supporting government, complementing government efforts in curbing down the spread of the disease. Today, the cooperatives globally, on the 3rd of July, Saturday, they are celebrating or commemorating the International Day of Cooperatives, and this year the theme is Rebuild Better Together. why are we doing this? It's because COVID has affected all economies, and now we are trying to rebuild together, work together, so that we bring back our economies. And want to thank everybody, want to thank first of all His Excellency the President for his passion, for the efforts that he has done. Want to thank Parliament for doing a lot for SACCOs. We want to thank everybody, development partners, the media and everybody. So going forward, I call upon all Ugandans to embrace the cooperative model, work together, love each other, and also I call upon government to make sure that government programs are implemented through cooperatives. That is the way to go, as it has happened in other areas. So cooperatives, like as earlier mentioned, the cooperatives are in all sectors of the economy, and the majority of them are into agriculture. And what they do, especially in agriculture, cooperatives help farmers to access inputs. They help them to aggregate their produce together. They add value and collectively market their produce. And especially when you go into coffee, taking an example of Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union, Bugis Cooperative Union, Banyankole Kweterana Cooperative Union, they are exporting coffee to fair trade to Europe. So why are we saying that the cooperative model is the best? The cooperative model is the best because farmers are at the center of the business. Unlike these other businesses where a middleman is exploiting farmers, you can imagine a middleman pays you 1,000 for produce and he sells it at 10,000 and he makes abnormal profits. But for cooperatives, once the farmers aggregate their produce, the cooperative adds value and they do the marketing, then they will come back and give farmers what is called a premium. A premium is like a magoba, or how much is coming back to the pockets of the farmers. And this is what the government is pushing for. How do we help these farmers to come out of poverty so that we join a middle income status? So it is the cooperatives. So you have asked about marketing. Cooperatives have experts. They have their staff who are good at marketing. So they get market from outside. And why is it better to market through cooperatives? It's because cooperatives, one, maintain quality because they have policies and they have many farmers, they have extension staff, they have whatever it takes to maintain the quality of the produce. Secondly, they maintain volumes or quantity. And you know, in the external market or the foreign market, buyers look at quality and quantity. You can imagine you cannot export 1 kilogram of coffee to Europe. No, neither can you export poor quality coffee. So cooperatives, like Ankole Coffee Producers Cooperative Union, they export containers and containers of coffee which is of quality. If you went to their facility today and you see how they are processing coffee to make sure that there is quality of coffee, it is very wonderful. So that is how the marketing is done. And also, most of these unions are linked to SACCOs. SACCOs are also cooperatives. The challenge we have been having with the farmers is selling immature produce, even selling gardens. I don't know whether you grew up in the village, but you can imagine farmers selling gardens. Coffee is not yet mature, but they have eaten money. Why? Because of poverty. So the beauty with the cooperatives is that a member of the agricultural cooperative like Ankole Coffee is also a member of the SACCO. So if you need money for the basics, then the SACCO will give you this money and you wait for the coffee to mature, you harvest it, aggregate in the society, it is marketed, and then payment is through the SACCO, and the SACCO will deduct the advance, and you are ready to go. This is the model that is better for this country to transform. This now brings me to the role of cooperatives. Because the cooperatives, especially the agricultural cooperatives, most of them now have input shops. And why they have input shops, it's because One, they want to maintain the quality of the inputs. Talk about fertilizers, the seed, these other drugs for the livestock and all that. They maintain that one. Secondly, Uganda Cooperative Alliance, in a bid to solving this problem of fake inputs, has opened an input center in Western Uganda, in Mbarara. If you went to Mbarara now, we have an input center. We have employed a vet person and an agronomist specifically to address these challenges, and through cooperatives, they are ensuring that one, farmers have access to better inputs, they have information on their tips, and this one together, we have really solved the issue of fake inputs. And in fact, we are working with the high quality input suppliers. Talk of MTK, talk of Barton, talk of others. We are working with them, we have brought them on board, and we have linked them to the farmers using that model. And because of that, farmers now can easily differentiate between a fake input and a genuine input, because we have provided extension services, we have given the necessary information, and then now everything I think is okay. And going forward, we shall address this challenge of fake inputs, because it has been a countrywide challenge, but we feel together we shall solve it. And now we are engaging government to come up with a good policy to solve this problem of fake inputs. Subsistence farming in cooperatives is now history. I want to inform the general public, it's now history. And that is why cooperatives were formed. Cooperatives were formed specifically to address this challenge of subsistence farming. Why? Because cooperatives, through their structures, they are able to support farmers along the value chains, from the garden up to the market. Now, once the farmers are mobilized to that extent, then subsistence farming becomes history. I thank you so much. I thank you, BC. I thank the viewers. For God and my country.
COVID-19 chija kubwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Abar kugonzerwa muno enganjani zange kanukira muno abaikazi Bahima district inyo singi Harriet Mugenyi akiki kanu mkuraso mkazi wa parliament wa district ya
At Timex Nutrition Center, we help you become a doctor for your own health by using a cup, plate, and our natural local foods. We treat diseases like diabetes, pressure, ulcers, constipation, infertility, stress, allergy, cancer, hernia, obesity, stomach complications, and several other ailments. Our doctors advise you on the proper diet, the right exercises, amount of water to drink, and the types of foods to eat before we get a professional nutritionist for details about your diet. For more details, come to Conrad Plaza along Entebbe Road, Kampala, or call 07782 88361 or 0758 819952. Mbarara branch is located on High Street, Amazon Building, opposite Post Office, Level 1, or call 0754 918590 or 0392 176533.
Ginger Branch is located on Main Street, Arcade 82 building. Call 0701 45 80 64 or 0785 17 32 01.
A very good evening. You tuned into UBC TV. Thank you so much for keeping it with us. Welcome back from the news. And in our show, My Journey, we come in with another one, a special and that one that we normally bring in every second Tuesday of a new month. And that is a program to do with our diet, how we eat right, with Timex Nutrition Center. And my guest is the usual suspect, Dr. Ismail Tamale. He is a nutrition specialist. He works with Timex Nutrition Center and is among the senior people there. And when we host him here, we share a lot that you do not have to miss. Yes, this evening we are going to talk about something still good, and that is to do with infectious diseases. But of course, we'll discuss it in relation to what we eat, in terms of how do we eat right to avoid infectious diseases, to fight them in things like that, in lines like that. So join me, welcome Dr. Tamale, and let's start right away to share whatever we have today. Doctor, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator.
How are you doing? In fact, I wanted to ask you, how is the lockdown treating you people that are in different kind of service provision?
Of course, the lockdown comes with its shortfalls, quite a number, and they definitely affect people differently, mobility of the clients, mobility of the staff, and so many things.
Okay.
But, however, we are already there to serve. Timex Nutrition Center is open from 8:30 every day to around 4 p.m. Monday to Saturday. So we have been serving the people, we are helping them. Right. Maybe for those who have just seen and joined this program, Timex Nutrition Center, we do what we call nutrigenomics. Many people will not comprehend nutrigenomics very well, but I'll try to explain it, because most of us, we have grown up hearing something called nutrition. Now, nutrigenomics is very different from nutrition, because here in nutrition, we look at the ingredients in the food. After looking at them, you find, oh, these are oranges, they have vitamin C, this is cassava, it has starch, this is carrot, has beta-carotene. Then after that, you tell somebody, come and eat a balanced diet. Take some carrots, take some posho, take some eggs, take some milk, and so on and so on, because it has a lot of proteins and calcium. Then after that, all of you follow that. Okay. Now, with the nutrigenomics, we don't look at the ingredients in the foods first. We look at the human being himself as an individual. We determine your blood group, if you don't know it. Then we do a lot of measurements
on me,
on your body.
Okay.
We call them the phenotypes. Phenotypes are the observable genetic